What's up, everybody? We're here again, coming back at you with Slash Cast. I'm your host, Jim, along with
Chevy.
And we're going to be talking about Nightmare on Elm Street 4 with our special guest,
Jeffy listening.
All right, and we'll be right back. Ooh, there's that great intro.
Absolutely.
Love it. I do want to thank you again for that. I know I have online, but it really did. It was really cool of you to...
And in the quick amount of time that you did it.
Oh,
and the quality that you did, too, man. I mean...
Yeah, I did not expect that.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of my lifelong friends, Jeff Ulisny, fellow Monaco alumnus, graduate of Penn State University, and one hell of a musician.
Stop it.
Yes.
I gotta pump you up, buddy.
The intro, the outro, all came from Jeff here. So, if you want to explain to us what brought you to that and how you got to actually make the entire clip, we'll hear about it.
Sure. Well, I've been. I don't compose music professionally as a job. It's basically a hobby. I do have a degree in music education that I'm currently not using, much to my parents' chagrin.
Like most college kids, I think.
Yeah. I did actually teach for a couple years, but I had one of those. It wasn't like this in the brochure moments, and kind of floated from there and ended up as a web developer. But that's not relevant to this discussion. So about the theme.
We'll give you inspiration.
Yeah, I was looking for a new project, and this seemed like a good thing to do because it's not something I've done before. The first thing that hit me was I wanted to work in some of the things you hear in like all horror movies. The first two things I thought of were the singing little girls with the jump rope songs and the evil music box. So that's kind of the first thing I laid down. And if you want me to isolate those, I can right now.
Yeah, please do. Walk everybody through it.
Go ahead and do that. I have the original tracks here, aka my iPad.
Yay.
Actually, let's... So that's our little girl with the creepy voice in the background. I did the low pitch thing because just the voice itself didn't seem creepy enough.
Now, whose voices did you use?
That's actually me.
That's you.
Yeah, I wanted to actually sample little kids, but I thought if I went to the playground with a microphone and said, "Hey kids, can you sing this for me?"
That whole sentence you just said kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to be clear on this.
Sounds like a trip to the police station.
Yes.
So I used myself just to show you how I did that. I will take off the effects.
Oh, okay.
I need to select the right track first. There we go. So here it is without.
Flashcast, say your last, say your
throw it on.
prayers and say them fast. Flashcast, say your last, say your prayers and say them fast.
So with the wonders of technology, I was able to become a small child.
I think it was creepier without the...
Either way. Yeah, because I had to do that for previous shows, and I made mine more like a demonic type.
Yeah.
Deeper.
Oh, I do that later on, too.
Yeah. I love doing that stuff.
The thing that I love the most, and I might be jumping ahead just a little bit, but the chainsaw and the scream on beat.
Oh, we'll get there.
Absolutely love that.
All right, and then the music box we talked about, nothing special, just kind of a...
And you wrote this,
Yeah.
correct? You didn't pick us up.
wrote, in quotes.
Wow. Okay. That's actually you playing the notes and everything, and then doing whatever you had to make it sound like a music box.
Yeah, I did this all on my iPad. I do have a 2.5, 3 octave keyboard I plug into it, so I'm not stuck using the on-screen keyboard.
Gotcha.
Which is horrible. especially if you have dry hands. But that is neither here nor there. So let's move on to the next part. Let's see.
I love the little icons on your...
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about GarageBand. You get icons and not text to tell you what the tracks are. So I'm just going to play this part. I'm not sure what it is. I think it might be the voices. Yeah, okay. So just to add to the sing-songy of the
Elm Street feel.
Elm Street thing, I added this. This is actually... I downloaded a Mellotron app a while ago, and I've been dying to use it. If you don't know what a Mellotron is, it's a very early, like 60s era type, not synthesizer. It actually plays samples, but it has huge tape loops in it.
It has that synth sound to it.
Yeah. It's Moody Blues used it a lot. Beatles used it on Strawberry Fields. Pretty much any choral symphonic stuff you hear from the 60s that's not a real symphony is this.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I used that voice for this. I'll jump ahead a little bit, and then some more voices come in. And that is also the part where we bring in our, let's see, our tribute to the Halloween movies, which I didn't want to rip off perfectly. I just wanted something to kind of evoke that feel.
Mm-hmm. Well, then that's what it was all about too.
Yeah,
because we're not just going to be doing Elm Street. We're going to be hopefully doing a lot more.
Yeah. So I used a drum machine patch and a electric bass to do this.
Yeah, the bottom track is definitely the Halloween.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I got that.
And then while
fortunately, you didn't write it in 5/4 time. That killed us when we were kids.
That's another thing I don't like about GarageBand. You can't go into those asymmetric time signatures, which is another separate issue. And while that was going on, that's where we came in with our straight ahead rock stuff here.
Very symbolic of the 80s.
Yeah.
A little bit of Dawkins in there.
I love the kick drum fade in.
Yeah, there's no one thing I can say that came from, just kind of just an 80s metal feel.
Kind of
and
hair bands, if you will.
Yeah, and that is a fake guitar. I do play some guitar that's within my abilities, but rather than go to the closet, find all the cables, find all the pedals, I just use the fake guitar.
Well, it's... You can't say, okay, it's synthesized through as a fake guitar. It's still actually you playing. So,
yeah.
And
it sounds, let me isolate it here. It sounds close enough, quite honestly.
And that was done on the keyboard?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a guitar to me. I don't...
Okay. And then the one note, I got like a Goosebumps theme at the end. Whenever you got
the synth part.
Yeah, like do 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 do.
Yeah.
It took me back to watching Goosebumps on TV. Like that's what I got when I first heard it.
I didn't do the whole Goosebumps thing, but that kind of reminded me of Tales from the Crypt.
Something like that. Yeah, like one of those shows like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had the same
I can just, whenever that kicked in, I can just, I remember the camera going down from,
into the
around
door,
the door and down the steps and all the stuff.
The doors opening, things flying.
Yeah, that's another common thing with the 80s. What I had in mind was all the old John Carpenter stuff. So
okay.
Kind of sort of the same thing.
Like the new 2018 thing he did was great. He had that deep guitar hit with his son, and that was... I love that theme that on the new Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween was always one of the many iconic, I should say, themes from the horror movies.
Yes.
Okay, so we ride that for a little bit. And then I guess the next thing we can talk about here is the monster voice that we already kind of alluded to, which is... which again is me using the same technology we created the little girls with. God, that sounds creepy too.
We're not creating little girls.
We're not creating little girls. Our last name isn't Frankenstein or Steen, depending if you like Mel Brooks.
All right, and then we just ended the whole thing. And there were other sound effects throughout there.
Chainsaw, the screaming.
Yeah, and we end the whole thing. Originally, it was just ending with this, which is actually a gong sound pitched down about an octave.
Make it sound like thunder.
Yeah.
Nice.
But Sean had the idea of chopping a head off right at the end.
Yes, I did.
Which, believe it or not, after Googling, I did find a free sound effect of a head being chopped off. So that gave us this.
Nice, wet, gooey, splashy kind of sort of sound.
Yeah. And there's other minor parts in there that are just adding to the ambience and things like that.
Do the chainsaw.
Wanna
Do the
have a
chainsaw.
All right, where's the chainsaw?
I can't help it.
Let's see.
It's one of those things. It's, from the months of November all the way till September, a chainsaw is nothing but a tool used for guys to cut down trees. But in the month of October, your psyche takes over. It's the,
Chase people.
You should know about that.
Chase people out of haunted trails into their cars. It was fun.
I think this is the track. Let's see here. Oh, nope. That's our victim.
That is our victim.
And again, that's another Googling for free sound effects.
I mean, that's pretty much what I did when I did the original.
Yeah.
I mean, I just took... when I did the original before yours, I literally tried to make a scene. So, like, the breathing, and then the door closing... You hear the man, you hear the stabbing, you hear the woman scream.
Yeah, we probably use the same website.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I try to do, is tell a story throughout a 45-second clip.
Yeah.
Which is what I appreciate you doing here. I love it.
Oh, no problem. And here's your chainsaw, Sean.
Yeah! Sorry, Jim. Got a little overexcited.
All right. And that's everything. And the outro is basically the same elements, just rearranged a little bit.
That's amazing. Like I said, he put this together literally. He asked us, I think, from the first podcast, do you have a theme? And I think 2 days later, maybe 3, what you heard at the beginning of this podcast was what was over and done with. I mean, the guy, as far as I'm concerned, he hit it out of the park.
And like I told you, if you think of any new ideas and you want to throw another one on there, I'm not one of these people that want to do the same one every time.
Yeah.
I like to change stuff around. Like, I added Doc into yours. Yeah. Like, I like to be a little... Over 8 years of doing podcasts, one of the things I always hated was repetition, where it becomes scripted. You know exactly what to expect every episode.
Yeah.
I always wanted to, all right, this time we're doing this. And then, this intro has this one on it. So, if you have anything new, send it my way, or let me know, and I'll...
I did have an idea. I noticed the last episode you're taking breaks now. I did immediately think, they need some bumpers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much throwing a little space in between there while he wants to go get a water or something like that. I make sure everything's good, and then
maybe me and Jeff
come
up with some fake commercials. Humorous little anecdotes like Leatherface chainsaw blade sharpening or something. Who knows? Do me a favor, Jeff, before we get you out of here and get you on your way for the rest of your exciting Sunday. Give us your website for your
please.
SoundCloud so people can go out there. People, go out and check this stuff out, please.
Plug everything for you.
You have no idea the talent that's sitting here next to me.
I actually need to look it up because I just tap a bookmark.
I know the SoundCloud link I put on there before was Mad Monk.
Yeah, is it just / Mad Monk 13?
13,
so.
Yeah. It was SoundCloud.com / Mad Monk 13.
And I'm sure we can put it in the description somewhere.
Yeah, like I did the first episode or the second episode.
/ Mad Monk 13, yes. I believe. Something like that.
And it's pretty diverse.
Your icon was a cat, I believe.
Yeah, that is my cat, Aaron, sticking his tongue out.
Okay.
Yeah. What you'll find there's a pretty diverse amount of stuff. I don't particularly stick to one genre. If I had to say, maybe 50% of it is instrumental, electronic type stuff, not necessarily techno, but more, I don't know what you call it, kind of tangerine dreamy kind of stuff.
Okay.
But there's also some other things. I've done some songs for some other podcasts. My wife, in the last few years, has started this project where I have this thing where I always say, like, my ideal job is writing songs for the Children's Television Workshop. So last year she said, okay, well then why don't you write me a children's song about a giraffe? So I did. and that's on there.
How to bath a giraffe.
Cool.
And the one after that, she said, okay, now do one about an aardvark, and that's on there. And I'm currently working on one about an armadillo. So,
which isn't easy, folks.
No, it's not. Not a lot of things rhyme with armadillo.
I'm just getting all these flashbacks to, like, Sesame Street. We all live in a capital I. That was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And the imagery's there.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, like I said, if anybody who wants to go look them up, you got the SoundCloud link in the description. You can click on that for them.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Welcome back to /cast. I want to thank once again Jeff Ulisny for coming on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he does come up with some new stuff down the road, and we'll definitely be able to use whatever he got.
Well, I
love what he does.
I can tell you right now, he's driving home in his car or wherever he's headed to after here, and he's going, okay, I got ideas.
Brainstorming.
Yeah, he's brainstorming already, trust me.
That's cool. Well, Jeff, definitely appreciate everything you want to give us, and every time you do, we'll definitely give you a shout out. And anytime you want to come on and talk about what you do, the floor is yours. So let's get into Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master from 1988, directed by Remy Harlan. I believe I wrote down correctly.
Yes, Rennie Harlan.
Yes.
The Finnish...
That they didn't even want.
The Finnish director that was extremely... Yeah.
So the film starts out with a quote, if you remember the quote.
Mm-hmm.
When deep sleep falleth on men, fear came upon me, and trembling which made all my bones to shake. Job 4. Did you think that was deep and profound?
Oh, it was so deep and profound for me. It was amazing. It really was. I guess it was figured. Hey, we did the Dream Warriors we opened with a quote. We might as well try to copy that and open with another quote.
Yeah, I just didn't.
Let's face it, folks. I kind of said it in the Elm Street 3 podcast last week, where if we were riding a roller coaster, Elm Street 1 and 2 took us up the hill. Elm Street 3 was kind of just as you started around the bend, and the rest of them is just a plummet into failure. And I love the franchise, and it pains me to say that, but it just suffered a lot. This one, in my mind, suffered a shit ton.
And there was a lot of catalysts to make this movie not as good as it could have been.
Well, yeah.
We'll get into that throughout the discussion. Robert Englund top billing.
Yes.
You see a Robert Shea production, then you see Robert Englund in. Was this the first one?
I can't remember if Robert got top billing. I think he got top billing in Elm Street 3.
Really? I don't recall.
But
it caught my eye on this one, so I wrote it down.
Well,
I remember us talking about him not wanting to come back, and then he finally they brought him back because they paid him what he wanted because he deserved it.
Yes.
We talked about that in the last episode, but this one I finally saw. I noticed Robert Englund in.
Yes, and once again, rightly so. It's you can't have this franchise without Robert Englund.
No, not at all.
I don't know how many times we can say that here, but that's one thing Jim and I agree on. It's definitely Robert Englund bringing life to these.
Absolutely, and we learned that the hard way in 2010.
Oh, boy.
But
you keep going back to 2010
because it's so bad.
I know.
It's kind of like a train wreck. You got to watch it.
Yeah,
but
another catalyst. What I think is one of the biggest things that caused this movie to be somewhat quote unquote shitty. This was actually taking place during the 1988 Screenwriter Guild, the writer's strike. They were basically writing scenes and then like 2 hours later filming them.
They were filming two weeks up until the theatrical release of the movie, they said.
Yeah. Yep. So, that's one thing. Some of the actors not coming back, particularly Patricia Arquette, and it's a big mystery. whether to this day, if it was she asked for more money, if it was because she was pregnant with her, I believe her first son, if they didn't ask her back. But that kind of threw when they, and you brought up last week that I didn't know that they didn't kill off Kincaid.
Mm-hmm.
The two actors that played Joey and Kincaid kind of felt like not having the original Kristen back, it threw something into the mix where they didn't feel comfortable or didn't feel right. And I can understand that.
The connection wasn't there that they made in the third one. And I didn't hear anything about the whole pregnancy thing, but I definitely heard that Robert Englund said that she was an up-and-comer, that he wasn't surprised that she wasn't going to come back, that her agent wanted way more money than they were willing to pay her, which is probably a good thing because they ended up running out of money anyway during the movie.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, I understand. They had to make a character because it was in the script, and I understand recasting. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
But I did read something about Joey and Kincaid's the actors who played them not being as receptive as they would have been if she was there. But they weren't in the movie long anyway, so I really whatever. It is what it is.
That is true.
But yeah. What did you like the actress that came in to play her?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know whether it was her first role or whatever, but her acting was really, really flat, I thought.
Yeah, and it was...
I don't want to get into too much right now, but I mean, even the character...
We're supposed to get into it.
Yeah, I understand that. Even the character development and of these characters, I mean, there wasn't any development.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I wrote that in my notes.
Well, like I said, I always bring in a bunch of, in my notes I write down the main characters of the kids.
Yes.
So, we were Tuesday night replaced Patricia Arquette as Kristen. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reasons, you had Ken Sagos coming back as Kincaid, and I can never remember the actor who played Joey, but he came back. So the new ones that you get in this...
Joey was Rodney Eastman.
Thank you. I knew it was Eastman. I couldn't...
Yes.
It's that whole Ninja Turtles thing, Kevin Eastman. Anyways, you get Alice. She's our daydreamer. She's also our final girl / virgin / I don't know what's going on.
/ power acceptant, whatever you want to call it. Lisa Wilcox actress.
Yes, her brother Rick, who apparently is a ninja, which in his character kind of confused me too, because it seemed like he knew a little bit more about the whole Friday thing, and his sister didn't. But once again,
the reason for that is because he was hearing it from
other people.
No, he was hearing it from Kristen all the time because that was her boyfriend.
You know what?
She said, he's like, I hear about this all the time from Kristen, blah, blah, blah. So he's probably been hearing about that since the whole time they've been together, which would be why he wouldn't believe it. I don't know.
You got Jan. I'm sorry. I mixed two people. You have Dan.
Yes.
The jock. That's it. Yes. He's just a jock. Your typical, stereotypical 1980s jock. We throw a varsity jacket on him and ta-da.
Who wouldn't be friends with these people at all in the 80s.
Exactly.
Especially not the Karate Kid.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you said Karate Kid. Sheila, the asthmatic nerd.
Yes.
That's basically what she was. Asthmatic and nerdy.
Yes.
And riding a scooter that probably attributed to her asthma, as they said in the movie. Mm-hmm. And Deb, the quintessential big-haired chick in the 80s, the wild one, the slutty dressing one that works out and hates bugs.
And tells guys to fuck off.
More so or less. And, and I guess one last character, because I kind of want to bring this point up, and I'll ask you here in a second, but we got to give a shout-out to Kincaid's dog. Jason. Yep. Which was, I thought, kind of cute.
Yep.
Naming him Jason. Maybe that was a prequel to the whole Freddy vs. Jason thing.
And the woman named Alice.
From Friday the 13th.
Yep. Yep, because as you can see, dog name is Jason.
Dog's name is Jason, absolutely.
Yes.
Good. What gets me, I mean, before we get into, I guess, more points of it and everything. With them writing and everything, it starts off that Kristen's having all these, I guess, dreams again. And going back to the boiler room and constantly from the last movie pulling in Kincaid and pulling in Joey, and they're sick of it. Freddy's dead, the boiler's cold, the pipes are cold. So is it Kristen's fault that Freddy comes back?
Which is exactly what I got out of it. I wrote on here that I want to ask you, to me, she's 100% selfish.
Oh, yeah.
To me, she's 100% the reason he came back. He's the reason that they died.
I'm going to call it 50%. She's the reason he came back. Jason, Kincaid's dog, I read into it as the dog is the hellhound.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean,
he pissed fire in Kincaid's dream. But,
But he brought her back, but that was also Kincaid's dream. Kincaid was there already in the Freddy mindset. So I think that was brought in by Kincaid. So
yes, Kincaid was dreaming on his own.
Yeah, so really that was from him. But it's funny to me that him and Joey's scenes, they're both calling out for Kristen and she's nowhere to be found. And
she was awake.
But in hers,
she was awake.
She
was at the
still,
window. Yeah.
They don't know that. You know what I mean? But when she wants them in there, boom, they're
well,
they're
we
right
as
there.
viewers know she was awake.
Yeah.
She was by her window smoking a cigarette.
But then that doesn't make shit if you watch a movie, because then Alice turns out to have special powers that can do shit throughout dream world or real world. So, whatever.
So I guess my second part of the question is, did Freddy or Freddy's spirit from the dream world more so or less channel Jason the dog to give him birth? I mean,
he likes to go in the shower, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know. Because you can see in the movie, the dog is in the junkyard with Kincaid after he jumps out of the trunk and is very mean, barks, growls. He pisses fire, and then it's like Freddy had control over him. I need the dog to crack open the ground, and all of a sudden the dog's like, fuck it, I'm out of here.
But isn't that a big plot hole? Because if Kincaid would bring his dog in who was awake, why couldn't they bring anybody else in who's awake?
Do you see where we're coming, folks? Do you see why this is the start of the roller coaster downhill?
Because even in the original scene where Kristen brings Joey and Kincaid in, and then her dog comes flying through.
No, that's
Jason.
That's
or his dog comes flying through.
The dog has to be asleep.
Yeah, the dog would have to be asleep. But then she wakes up and the dog's sitting there with blood on his face, and she has a dog bite.
Yep.
And then Kincaid says, "What do you expect? You bring your dog, you bring dog into the dream, blah blah." I'm like, so wait, she can just bring anything and anybody she wants in?
Here's another good point. We left Joey and Kincaid and Kristen.
Yes.
At the end of Elm Street 3 in Weston Hills. Now
they're all home.
Are they're not explaining how they got out? Did they get out for good behavior? Were they cured? Are Kincaid and Joey in school with her, or are they just like, fuck it, we're not in school anymore? Or did they just decide to show up? I mean,
they were in school. They came into school. Her boyfriend knew who they were.
And I guess later in the movie, that is my error. That's right, because she sees the two seats,
and they're not. Yeah,
and they're not there.
Yeah,
they can't be sick. They have to be dead.
Yeah, of course, they're both dead at the same time. Yeah. But there are so many plot holes in this script; it's insane, and we can't really delve into all of them because
I don't know
it
about
would be
that.
a very long discussion. There's more wrong with this movie than there is right with this movie.
I have one little note here about your plot holes.
Yes.
Two things. You don't need to be asleep for Freddy to get you now. All of a sudden,
of course.
And magic cigarettes. And I know you're looking at me like, what the hell do you mean magic cigarettes?
Oh, explain to the viewers.
In the bathroom scene, Alice is talking to Sheila. Sheila leaves. All of a sudden, Alice, who we don't see smoking through the whole movie,
yes,
has a cigarette
in her hand.
And then she goes, wait a minute.
And a lighter.
I don't... A lighter, match, whatever it is. Wait a minute, I don't smoke. Well, did you pull this out of your ass? You had to... I mean...
Where did they come from?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're... The biggest plot hole to me is it's like they don't understand, and they didn't understand from like the previous movies for some reason of how Freddy got you. I mean, there's scenes whenever Alice is asleep and, the door opens up and you see Deb and she's working out. Now, I know damn well she ain't working out and sleeping. Freddy goes and kills her. I mean, there's no... And I know it's a horror movie, but still, you have to follow some guidelines of what was put down before.
That's one thing I definitely wrote down. They were in the diner in a dream, but once again, this is another example I wanted to ask you. I wrote in my notes here.
Sure.
Movie shows Freddy as weak to me because he still needs somebody else to help him. He says he doesn't kill Alice because he says, you need to bring me more. Why is he not strong? He's looked at as his dream demon.
I'm taking it as Kristen was the last of the, kids from the Elm Street mob. And if nobody else knows about him or whatever, has any ties.
Yeah, but what is his...
I don't know. I'm just paddling right
I get
right
you,
now.
but what is him telling Alice, bring me more, and then you see Debbie just pop up on out of nowhere that she's awake.
Yes, it's a bad
and
plot.
ready to work out.
It's bad. It's bad writing. It's a bad plot point. It's just
you're
right.
She lays down on the bench, rubs her eyes, and all of a sudden that's her being asleep because Freddy shows up right after that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And then when Kincaid falls asleep, rub his eyes, and he wakes up. He's in the trunk. I mean, it's
Kincaid. I think Kincaid and Joey both. We see them in the movie. Their eyes actually physically close, if for a second.
Well, technically, if you're rubbing her eyes, it's closed. Yeah. But I don't know. There's too many of the...
Well, let's do this, too. You're talking about Deb. You've got the scene where Alice is in class, and she's nodding off when obligatory Robert Shea,
The history teacher?
Yeah, the history teacher. The
talking about dreams in the history class for some odd reason.
The obligatory, hey, I'm the producer.
Yes.
I'm going to be in a scene for 30 seconds because I want to be an actor, but I suck.
Yes. And
but Alice is nodding off. And then we cut to her brother Rick falling asleep on the shitter. So does Alice have to be asleep? Now Rick's asleep. The cheerleaders come in. You see Alice for a brief 10 seconds. The cheerleaders push him out. He sees Kristen. Now to me, he's asleep.
He fell asleep on. That's what.
Yeah, he fell asleep in the toilet. And then all of a sudden, the toilet becomes an elevator. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of sucking happens because...
Well, we'll discuss this real quick. We're going to get into the death scenes. We do have to watch the death scenes. This is one death scene that was...
Oh, God.
Ruined due to the financial problems of this movie.
They were out of money.
They ran out of money. His death scene was actually supposed to have to do with the elevator collapsing or falling down and the floor of the elevator giving way. It was supposed to be a big deal of a kill.
And somewhere in there, I think he had a fear of elevators or something.
Something weird.
Apparently,
like
they
that.
left it out.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
But yeah, you can actually see that in his whole thing. The set was just like cloths and things hanging down with a bad...
But then he was fighting an invisible Freddy because they couldn't put him in there, I guess. And then he gets killed by the lone Freddy glove just jumping up from the ground, going through him. We didn't even get the kill. We didn't get the gore. We didn't get anything.
Absolutely nothing.
And then Alice all of a sudden screams because
exactly. Did she wake up? Did she not wake up?
Because now she's psychic. She's accepting powers from everybody who dies. Who, if they were so powerful, why are they getting killed so easily to begin with? They're not Power Rangers all of a sudden getting killed and then giving her their powers. So I don't know where the hell that comes from. The only power throughout the whole movie is really whenever Kristen's power to bring people into her dreams. That's really the only power.
I agree with you on that.
If he was so good at karate, he wouldn't have got killed. What the hell?
Freddie Miyagi, was the trainer. You must have balance.
The one story I got about him, the actor, he was actually with us down in Scarefest. He was a guest down there, and he's holding on to his fame. I'll tell you that much.
Is he?
He looks exactly the same, just a little older.
He's still got the same crap in his hair?
He has spiked black hair, wears a black leather coat.
Oh, my Lord.
And he's really just hitting on all the people that's there. That's really what that's who he is today. And it was funny just to watch him throughout there's a big party after the event. Everybody goes to the party, and he's just wandering around talking. That was funny to watch him.
Well, you know what? I mean, how much of a slap in the face is it? Like I said, you're a young, aspiring actor. You're hoping, hey, I'm in an Elm Street movie. Maybe this will kickstart my career. Look what it did for, Patricia Arquette. So it's your scene or your day to film the scene of your death. What's your motivation? Just do me a favor and just, kick and swing at midair at nothing, and we're going to off you.
Which he does throughout the whole movie, is only kicking and punching at air, because when he's training, he's kicking and punching at air. When he's fighting Freddy, he's kicking and punching at air. Exactly. When he's trying to show Alice how to kick, he's kicking at air.
And they, like I said, they shoehorned so many character traits into the main kids, And
then, but after this movie, he did have a cameo on Saved by the Bell.
So did I.
He was on Saved by the Bell. He played a dyslexic bully that was only mean because he couldn't read. So he was mean to Screech and stuff, and then they find out, oh, you can't read, we'll help you read, and him and Screech become friends. But that's the last time I ever saw him.
I cannot believe that you actually researched
And
Saved by the
I
Bell.
didn't. That's my memory, bro.
Oh, my God.
There are no notes about that. That's my memory.
Okay, well, you were a fan of Saved by the Bell.
Every Saturday I watch Saved by the Bell.
Okay, hey,
But,
no judging here.
no.
I'm not judging. I promise you, I'm not. Hey, I used to watch the Smurfs.
Hey. So
You
did
heard
I.
it right here, folks.
So did
I
I.
used to watch the Smurfs.
So, but other than that, yes. So, that's Alice's brother, Rick. That's his character. When do you want to watch the kills? Because we're talking about the kills now, but we can watch the kills anytime.
You know what? Let's watch the kills.
I'll watch the kills and then we'll. Because a couple of them, I mean, like I said, I told you before recording, I do like a couple of the kills. I mean, they're not bad.
Even, you know what, and not trying to
So,
completely diss this movie, but, you know, the kills, this whole movie relied on the weird dream world. And I think it's what saves it. I think it's what makes it, you know, watchable. And the production values in the special effects anymore are phenomenal in this one. Once again, you know, it's only a year later, but they upped their game.
They admitted the fact that because the movie was so badly written,
Yes,
that they had to rely on this. So,
once again, it's that whole
but at least they relied on something.
the dream world. You can do whatever you want to.
But now it's real world. You can do whatever you want to.
Yeah, apparently.
So, we will watch this and give our thoughts more on the kills as they come, and then we will probably get into more of the climax of the film and all that. And then
There's even more stuff here that I
we'll
have.
touch whatever you got, so to speak. Alrighty. Another Carnage Counts. Nightmare on Elm Street 4 kills.
I have a little piece of trivia about that too.
And one thing I wrote down is that this was the beginning of Freddy becoming the king of the one-liners.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Every kill has some kind of one-liner in it. So.
Oh, look, Kincaid just no blood, no nothing like in the previous movies.
So he died like that with no blood. Yeah.
This was stupid.
Yeah. First scene of
Boobies! Let me reiterate. This would have been a good idea if they didn't end it the way they did.
with him actually in the mattress.
Inside the mattress.
Exactly.
Hello.
100%, dude. 100% on here.
And one of my favorite one-liners. How's this for a wet dream?
Yeah. I mean, he has a great. I mean, that's when this is when he becomes that character, that smart mouth one-liner character. Adding insult to injury.
They're carrying it over from Elm Street 3, where it started.
Yeah, but this is every single.
And I know when I unplugged my headphones from my stereo as a kid, it shut it off too.
Of course. So right away, the first 3 kills we get are the remaining characters from Part 3.
And supposedly the remaining Elm Street children.
Yes, so she was the last one. But now we got the suction cup death.
And as dumb as this was, they did it
cool.
so well.
It looked cool.
I'm giving them props. A little husk of a kung fu.
And then she just
Once again.
and she knows right away.
With this,
I like the squeezing of it,
I loved it. Yeah, this.
and then all the juices come out. Yeah, then I just don't get it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, okay, which one do you think should have been in there?
Not so much that I think one. I'm surprised they didn't count Freddy.
They never put Freddy on there.
Yeah, I guess you can't, but yeah,
'Cause he never dies. He's not really
that's
a death.
true.
So
Only 6 deaths in it. But
he did throw in her Kristen's mom in the last video we watched, and that wasn't a real death.
well, there you have it.
She came back in this movie.
Right, right. The problem that I have with the kills
Yes.
is once again the bad writing. I mean, the whole thing. What I thought was a great idea was when Kristen goes to the diner, and once again it's nonsensical. Is she asleep? Is she not? This was the whole thing after Alice wanting to go to Deb's to meet Deb and Dan. Her father stops. She goes upstairs. And then you have a couple other shots of Dan, the Bermuda Triangle thing, yada yada. So when it starts off, you see Alice in bed, and she crawls out her window,
Uh-huh.
like her brother Rick, because of course everybody's in.
She's become Rick now, yes.
So my question is, once again, with the writing, is she sleeping? Is she not sleeping? Because if she is truly awake, she goes to the diner, Rick's truck's not there, she goes into a movie theater and goes into the screen.
Yep.
Okay. If she is truly sleeping, then that explains the whole get in a truck, I'm driving, that phenomenal loop that went around 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, if she is dreaming, how did they get in the truck? Did she fall asleep behind the wheel? It's just, you know what I mean? It could have, everything in this movie could have been phenomenal if they would have taken the time to actually go, whoa, wait a minute, we got something wrong here. And that's what it seems to me.
But Dan's sleeping because she says we're in a dream, and he says oh we're sleeping. So Dan was sleeping and she was sleeping, and they're dreaming the same shit.
It doesn't. Once again, it doesn't kind of make.
No.
To me, it didn't make sense.
No.
They really. I mean, in the first 3 movies, they kind of made it. I don't want to say extremely clear, but it was a lot clearer, I should say, than
what was dream,
what they
what was
did in this.
reality.
Exactly. You knew whenever Nancy fell asleep.
Yeah.
You knew when they didn't fall asleep. The other thing that and I don't know why this just popped into my head. Well, we're talking about the kills. I love the Springwood, protagonist cemetery.
That was actually it.
Oh, yes, yeah. We have, Donald Thompson and Nancy Thompson, and now we have Roland Kincaid, and
So
everybody that died at Freddie Haynes. This is the Fred Krueger Memorial
is that the
Cemetery.
plot? Is that the plot though? Like they all get to be married? They're buried in the same plot because they were
and
killed
right
by
next
Freddie?
to each other,
They're
apparently.
very close quarters to each other.
Where was Joey's?
Like,
did they bury Joey at sea? But
I'm just, so to speak.
Sorry.
He was, yeah. But yeah, that was another thing I wrote down. It was cool that they had that scene where you're seeing, you see the names, you see Nancy Thompson, so it's a cool throwback there. But it just didn't make sense because anybody who knows anything is that's not how cemeteries work.
Well, yeah, no doubt.
You don't buy a plot called, oh, is this a Freddy plot? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
But oh well, I mean, it's a movie.
Well, that's what happens whenever you write a script in 7 days. You'll have these big, gaping, bloody holes in it.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. Rennie Harlan, the director of this movie, he actually was a big fan, thought he could do it. They brought him in. I guess him and Robert Shea had a bunch of headbutting going on, which isn't good for a script or a movie production either.
Well, it seems to be the catalyst in all of this shit.
Absolutely.
And
well, Wes Craven also told him, you know what, you're not going to use my time traveling idea for dreams. I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
But I will give Rennie Harlan this. He wanted to make Freddy cool. He wanted to make him the star. And I have to, give him, great kudos for that, because without Krueger, you don't have the movie.
No, but
even the wisecracking and all that stuff, like every dream kill.
Yeah, even after we got Dawkins in part 3, this was really the MTV nightmare.
Oh, well,
and they even had MTV commercial in the background, and you can act like
Randy.
You could see it, like they actually put it on camera, like it's like they're promoting MTV throughout.
Yeah, and speaking of MTV, this Nightmare on Elm Street 4 also gave us the birth of "Are You Ready for Freddy" by the Fat Boys, in which Fred Krueger raps.
All right.
So let's not give MTV
Everybody
all the
rap back then.
Let's not give MTV all the kudos for it, because sometimes MTV can do stupid things to people.
Yeah. So another thing, we bring up Robert Shea too. He has a cameo as a history teacher in this movie. If you think back to Freddy vs. Jason, he's also the cameo in that movie in the school. So is he playing the same character again?
It could very well be.
I think that would be a pretty cool throwback.
Very well. Is he really a history teacher or a teacher of dreams? Because he was
it says history on the thing.
Does he? Because he's talking about the dream master and the positive
he's talking about,
and the negative. And
I want to say Aristotle or something.
It is Aristotle. You're correct.
And on the board it says history is fun, and he's 100% a history teacher in this movie. So, but when he comes out in Freddy vs. Jason down the hall, that's his cameo in the school. So I'm thinking, oh, that's pretty cool. They made him the same character.
Yeah, actually.
Or he made himself the same character. Yeah. So that's something cool to touch on.
But getting back to kills and everything, I know we bounce around a lot on Slashcast, but you know what? We spitball here and we love it. But Debbie's kill scene, I love it. Absolutely love it. I think it was brilliant. I think it was done well with little things interdispersed or dispersed in between her changing into the cocker. And her, when those elbows cracked, buddy, that was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It was done so well.
I mean, and this is her arms, her bug arms, the effect is 10 times better than Freddy's arms effect in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, as far as realism. I mean,
yeah, of course. Absolutely.
So that's what made me appreciate it. It definitely looks a lot. It's only 4 years after that movie.
And it was, like I said, it was building up the special effects.
Yeah.
You got young kids coming in or younger people, hey, I can do this, I can do that.
But I mean, it was visceral. You saw the when her arms bend back and you see the elbow split, and then you can see inside a little bit,
and then they come
pointing out.
Oh yeah.
It's a very, very well done.
Well, even whenever she falls face first into the goo and she sits up and everything peels off.
And even like he picks her up, it didn't look like shitty CGI to me.
No.
It really was a very well shot scene. And then you saw in the video, he
squeezes her. Squeezes her. Bye-bye.
Gets all those juices out.
But yeah, once again, that's one of the other things that I really like about this movie. They kept going with, if not more, of Freddy's killing of what your fears are. She didn't like bugs. Mm-hmm. And she was lifting weights. Well, lifting weights killed you. The poor Sheila, the poor nerd, she had asthma and, took all the air out of her lungs.
And the way I looked at the Debbie death was he turned what she thought was her most powerful strength into her biggest weakness, because that's how he was able to use the weights against her. So I think that was kind of smart.
Sure, yeah. She was going on about, I don't lift and train for all these hours to go up against some Night Stalker. Wrong answer.
And then Alice actually makes a comment to her saying, "Muscle, mind over matter," because that's what Sheila said.
Right.
And because you have to use your mind. It's not muscles for anything, especially in the dream world. You have to control him with your mind. And Alice's mother tried to teach her, you can control your dreams with a certain song, which
another nursery rhyme
turns out to be pretty important, I guess.
Let's talk about the end of the movie. Well, before we talk about the end of the movie, that's part of the end. We run out of time, we run out of money, so we're going to do an Alice montage, where she's going to strap on every single solitary thing that she's got from her dead friends.
My next notes here are, well, before she does that, Dan, the jock, after she wrecks the truck, gets taken to the hospital.
That's right.
And she asks the doctor, when's he having surgery? And he says 15 minutes. If you've ever been to the hospital, that ain't happening in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And second of all, she runs out of the hospital, goes home to change clothes and put on all this stupid shit. Because apparently what you're wearing
doesn't work.
But I mean, her attire, I guess, gives her power somehow.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Especially, Sheila's little
so instead of
bugometer or whatever she made.
Yeah, it's a vibration tool to make bugs go away. But apparently, if you plug it into whatever.
Well, but if you grab high power out of your dream of a wall in the dream world, it gives you like a Ghostbusters kind of sort of thing.
So apparently, she thought leaving the hospital to go get changed was more important than staying there to keep him awake.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. So that was just a big dumbass thing and then she jumps into the mirror because she knows he's asleep or something. Like
yes.
So she was awake, changing her clothes, and was able to just all of a sudden snap her fingers and enter the dream world and jump through a mirror.
Bad writing.
Come on. I mean, it makes no fucking sense. All right. And then then welcome to Wonderland, Alice. I like that quote.
The big thing that I have with the ending with her fighting Freddy, which was kind of it wasn't a bad thing, but she's kung fu kicking and doing all this and that, and Freddy seemed like he was more powerful than the whole rest of the movie. Bring me souls, bring me this, bring me that. She kicked him, 50, 60 times, punched him, and he just sat there and laughed. She blows a gigantic hole through his chest.
Fixes it.
And he goes, with his hands, fixes it. So, how do we kill Freddy in this one? Evil has to see its reflection.
Yep.
So she picks up a piece of broken stained glass, shows it to Freddy, and
we get the religious imagery in the final death scene, which was kind of cool.
Yes.
He's supposed to be guarding the gates of hell.
Yep.
And here we're in a church. Thought that was something they went for. I could see the reasoning for it.
Yes. the whole imagery of the souls inside of him pulling him apart. You want to talk about phenomenal.
Yeah. And we got
once again, special effects. I mean, the hand coming out of the back of his head, Linnea Quigley and her second shot of boobies coming out of his chest. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, they put a bunch of different. There was a giant Freddy chest, but they also had the little one on him and the hands coming out and different shots of hands grabbing and pulling his jaw apart and the souls escaping.
Yeah.
Probably, if I had to rank Freddy deaths, I think that would probably be my number one.
Effects-wise, absolutely, I would say.
Absolutely.
I don't think...
Reasoning,
no. But, yeah, the effect... Like I said, the one thing that helps... And when I gave my rating here, I said, creative kills, great practical effects. I mean, the rating and the story and all that made... It really hurt the movie, but as far as that goes, if you're watching it just for that, which was fine for me because I knew... I mean, it's not a first watch, so I was able to just watch it and be like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I already knew what was shitty with it. Yeah, I'm watching and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Right. But the only thing that was shitty with the movie was everything was between the beginning credits and the end credits.
Yes, and the kills were the good parts.
The kills were the good parts.
Yes, but other than that, that's pretty much what I wrote. So, yeah.
The whole end of it. So, once again, this is one of the problematic things I have with trying to set something up for another sequel. You've got Dan and Alice, who, by the way, this just popped in my head. Did Alice somewhere between, I don't know, 10 minutes into the movie and the end of the movie finally learn about hair care products or how to wash her hair?
Yeah, she was a really rundown looking girl.
She was greasy at the beginning and all of a sudden she's got flamboyant hair. She looked fabulous.
Yes, because she all of a sudden has confidence for beating a demon now, and now she's dating a jock, and now she can look better.
It was even way before that. There were, like when she was ripped, that whole image of her finally seeing herself from the parts of taking everything off of the mirror, and here's pictures of this one and this one. Now I can see the mirror. Now finally I like who I am because my dead friends gave me power.
Plus one of the worst stunt scenes ever was whenever she was doing the nunchuck scene, and if you look the back of her, it's the hair, because you brought up the hair, but it's completely ridiculous if you watch this movie again.
Yeah, it was a really, really bad attempt at trying to disguise a stunt person or a well-known nunchucker.
Yes, when she's using the nunchucks from her brother after he dies, please watch carefully.
Which amazingly were hidden in her drawer in her room somehow, along with his Miyagi headband.
I don't know what's happening.
But back to the whole thing with, her and Dan at the fountain. Dan throws a coin in or whatever, and she sees a reflection of Freddy, and she looks again, and he's gone. Yep. And
you get a little chuckle from Freddy, which we always get the laugh.
And, it just kind of, I don't know. I thought it was shitty imagery or something. I don't know how you want to call that. It really is, though, to be fair, kind of hard to tie somebody that's supernatural like that, making him come back. I mean,
but it's a double-edged sword, because it also gives them 100% creative freedom to do whatever the hell they want, because he is a supernatural demon. So you can't say that looks fake. The dude's a supernatural demon. He can do whatever.
True.
So really,
maybe, but I guess my point is, you've got a reflection in the water. Mm-hmm. So you would have to have something stand. I guess from a realistic point of view, somebody would have to be standing there. If they would have panned up and saw, it was.
I looked at it as all in her head.
Yeah, she was daydreaming. She didn't want to.
That's how I looked at it.
She freaked out on her dad. Eat this, you bunny rabbit.
It's like for us to see that from our perspective, but to put yourself into her perspective, she was like, "I beat him. We survived. Blah blah blah," and then all of a sudden,
she kind of gets.
He pops back into her head like, "Shit, he's not gone. He's still in my brain," and now she's probably right back to being afraid of falling asleep again, because he was able to put an image in her.
Maybe that was just a quick either daydream.
We're really trying to build this up to something it's not, but
I know.
I think
Nitsky says no.
I think they were really trying to do this, but no, I just don't think they were.
I just think, I like I said, I love the Elm Street series. I really do, but this one, going back and watching it, it really took a lot for me to even get through it. One whole viewing straight, beginning to the end. I was pausing left and right and doing laundry and changing the oil in my truck.
I was just laying in bed watching it. So
an hour and a half later, I pick right up. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I did remember most of it.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing is, I've seen all of them, so really it's all refresher. But then I'll just pick out little things that I might have forgotten or never noticed before that I notice now as an older person.
Right.
So that's all I watch. That's why I choose to rewatch everything now, because I pick up on a lot of little things that I probably missed 15 years ago.
And like I said, I was 16 years old, went to go see it in the movie theater, probably the second Elm Street that I saw in the movie theater, and I loved it. I really did. It was Freddy, and it was never about, because I can remember, how the hell did they get to here? Oh, wait, Freddy's killing somebody. Never mind. It was always about, for some reason, the kills. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that that's what Rennie Harlan and everybody at New Line Cinema was banking on. Nobody gives a damn about the plots. We're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. All they want to do is see Freddy whacking people.
Which 100% was fact, because this movie was the highest grossing one.
Yeah. And in fact, I think not only that, but until I think Freddy vs. Jason came around, but whatever.
Jason, it was the biggest, yeah.
I think it was the highest grossing slasher film in the 80s, period. I could be wrong. Independent. Yeah. Independent.
Yep.
I could be wrong about that, but, like I said, that's all we wanted to see. I mean, that's the whole reason why you watch Friday the 13th, to see how creative they got.
Yeah, pretty much. And like I said, the only thing I don't like that they do with Freddy is that his kills aren't as gruesome, and he doesn't look as strong whenever he kills, to me, compared to Jason. You know what I mean? Like, Jason bends people in half. Jason, but it's in the real world. You see everything happening. Here,
right?
Most of his kills are in dream world, so they don't really look gory. They look more supernatural, and he just shoves his hand up their stomach, and that's done.
That's what I was gonna, like you were talking about last week.
Yeah.
With the whole, the knives going in or slashing. That's the first time you see him. He goes into Kincaid.
Yeah.
Kincaid, I'll see you in hell. Tell him blah blah blah, and then you see him thrust up again. So apparently somebody must have caught on to that, because it was almost like he was in, and then he says, "Okay, just a little bit more, and we're gonna go up and either puncture the lungs, whatever."
Yeah, something. But once again, there was no blood on him in the real world. Whenever he dies, he just... But then in other ones, we see the effects from the dream world into the real world, but here we don't. So
we saw what happened to Kincaid. We saw what happened to Joey.
Uh-huh.
We saw what happened to Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to Rick and Deb? You didn't see their real world deaths at all.
No. Because they
shoot
them, probably.
They probably ran out of money, or however you want to call it. But, it would have been interesting to see where they went. I mean, like with Sheila, Freddy sucking all the air out of her having the asthmatic attack.
Yeah.
What the hell would you do for crushing somebody in a Roach Motel?
Yeah.
Would they look like
sitting on the bench, like...
Maybe the weight came
popped open,
maybe the weight come down across her chest. That's the only thing I could think of, and I was just thinking 10 seconds, which is more what they did when they were writing
pretty
the script.
much. And then Rick was what was he doing before he died?
Sleeping on the shitter.
That's right. So he went from the shitter to doing karate.
Toilet paper. He
stabbed through the stomach. So when they found
him,
him,
on a plunger. I don't.
Yeah, when they find him, he's just on the shitter, just leaning back.
He's strained and he popped a blood vessel. I don't know.
Who knows?
I'm grasping at straws here.
Who knows?
That's what I'm saying.
But other than that, if you have nothing, do you have anything else you want to touch on with this film? We'll go to our ratings, and then we can move on to our top 10 list. All right. Other than that, roll credits on Nightmare on Elm Street 4: The Dream Master.
Thank God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But now that is going to bring us to A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5.
Right on.
So,
the search for more money.
Yes. What do you give this as your rating?
4.
4 out of 10.
There's no.
Well,
4. That's it.
3 out of 10 on my end, and that was strictly for the kills. Everything else about the movie there's virtually no continuity. There's no character development aside from Alice. She was a star. I would have loved to see more done with.
Alice was the co-star.
Well, whatever you want to call it. Yes,
Freddy's the star.
Aside from Freddy, but Alice was the final girl, I guess you can say.
Right.
And
we had a final boy too.
We had a final boy.
Second final boy. Well, I guess
third really. If the Joey Kincaid and in Part 3.
Yeah.
Joey was supposed to survive Part 3 originally. Kincaid was a mistake.
Yeah.
So really, you would have had the whole male-female.
Can Mark Patton really be considered a final boy? I mean, he would be a final. Never mind. We're not even going to get into that.
Well, we did say he could scream queen. which
Well,
is
that's
not
true.
an insult. I think he's fine with that because he actually has said that.
Yes, he has.
So I don't have any problem saying that. So yeah, average 3.5 out of 10 from us for this movie. So
I'm giving, and the only reason why I gave it a 4, same thing. The kills were inventive. They were phenomenal. I gave it the extra 1 star, if you will, mainly because I really do believe they had a hell of a good script that just completely suffered.
which is what happened. There's too many hands in that cookie jar.
Absolutely.
And Robert Shays is the biggest hand, and what he says goes.
Well, that is a true statement.
So yeah, that's a wrap on Nightmare on Elm Street 4. We're going to finish this episode out with. Last week we did our top 5 final girls. Today we're going to do a top 10 horror killer masks.
Okay.
So this is actual masks, not prosthetics, not makeup. Something that they had to put on in order to be the killer.
Gotcha.
All right, so we'll start at number 10. Who do you have for your number 10?
I don't know whether you want to call these
I don't think they're in order.
horror
Just say
masks
10.
or whatever you want to. My number 10 was the Season of the Witch masks. Because ultimately they did kind of kill, but I mean, I know there was a whole plot thing, the Silver Shamrock mask.
Yes.
And I based them on that, and I also kind of based on just, sheer iconic, imagery. Mm-hmm. Those 3 masks were cool. I really dug those masks. And I can remember seeing them way back when like, the days of Woolworths and Hills. Begging my mom to get me the skull mask, and her telling me that I was too young.
Yeah.
Damn it. Anyway, but that was my number 10, the Season of the Witch masks.
Okay, my number 10 would be the Collector mask. Did you ever see the Collector?
I believe I did a while ago.
Okay, I always thought that mask was pretty cool. When they do close-ups, his eyes are weird in it. Like it's a really cool-looking black mask. It looks like a hood, but really it's not.
Right.
I just like the way it looks on camera. I really enjoy that, and it has a lot to do with It kind of looks like my number 9, but not really. But I could see where they kind of pulled from it. Mm-hmm. So what was your number 9?
My number 9, not so much in the first movie, but the second movie and on. I believe there's only 2 and 3. I'm not sure how many. The Purge masks. Mm-hmm. I really thought they're neat looking. I mean, the one I like the most. Oh, the big smiles or whatever. But like even the Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
kind of creepy to have Abraham Lincoln coming at you with an axe or whatever. I just liked them. I mean, the whole look of them, the sculpting, and I mean, I might be completely off with how you wanted to go with this, but
no, that's fine. Masks in a horror movie.
Masks are masks. Good.
Like I said, I've thought of both the ones you put. I just didn't put them on my list. That's all.
Okay.
My number 9 would be the Nightbreed mask.
Button eyes.
Yes, button eyes from Dr. Decker. Button eyes.
Yep.
That's I even though I probably have only seen that once and it was on TV maybe
once or twice.
The mask itself was always like, I want that mask. I want that mask.
And of all the weird shit in that movie, mm-hmm. I mean, I know we're talking masks, but I mean, like the mask stands out. The guy with the moon, and I mean, but that mask stands out. Yeah, I like that mask too.
Worn by David Cronenberg.
Yes.
What was your number 8?
Donnie Darko's bunny mask.
Okay.
I like it because it really looks just, I want to almost say homemade. It kind of looks like somebody took a bunch of melted Tootsie Rolls and kind of shaped it. I like the way the ears go up and just the whole look of it is, kind of menacing. I mean, I know it's not a horror film, but still, whenever they're in the movie theater and the bunny turns when he says, "Why are you wearing that bunny mask?" Or once again, it's an image that's burned into your mind.
Yeah, and I think most people will see. They probably have seen that mask and may have never seen the movie,
right?
But know the mask. So I think that's what makes it good.
The first time I ever saw that, there was a guy up at one of the Comic Cons, Steel City Comic Con. Mm-hmm. Shout out,
Steel City Con.
He was walking around, and I can't remember who I was with. I'm like, what the hell's up with the big fucking gray bunny guy and whatever? Oh, that's from Donnie Darko. What the hell's Donnie Darko?
Oh yeah.
And I had to go home and watch it like the next night. So I thought it was kind of cool. Yes.
All right. So number 8 for me would be Babyface from The Hills Run Red. This is a 2009 movie, one of my favorite horror movies, very underground horror movie, starring William Sadler, Statler, whatever. How it came out?
Sadler.
Sadler. Okay.
Death from Bill and
Yes.
Ted.
Yes. And it's one of them underground movies that you see on like horror groups and stuff. Hey, have you ever seen this? And I own it it was one of my.
Gotcha.
As soon as I came out, I was like, I love this movie. Really good horror movie. Has a lot of the document style we were talking about earlier.
Right.
Not as much as Leslie Vernon, but
yeah.
Very smart movie, very gory movie. He's great in it. The killer's brutal.
Kind of an homage to to Leatherface, because there's a scene where he says, where we said he took the skin or whatever and sewed it to his face. We said that's what he did in real life.
Yeah, he took
he actually
the actor. He says takes.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, he really went for it and all that. He ripped his face off and then put the. Yeah. I mean, but then there's a twist at the end. It's really good movie. I recommend it if you never. The Hills Run Red.
I'll have to check it out.
Yes. So number 7 for you.
Hush. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, the White Mask. Yes. With the deaf
all
girl.
I'm going to. And you'll see this as the list goes closer to number 1. I love the fact that it's just. I love detailing. I love sculpting when it comes to movies, and people who pay attention to detail is amazing. But something as plain as that face, there's something eerie about it. And even that scene of him just looking in the window when he's tapping.
And it kind of has a grin on it.
Kind of, yeah. Somewhat like a little smirk or whatever you want to call it, but yes.
All right. I like that mask. I actually love that movie, too. My number 7 is Mr. Leslie Vernon from The Rise of Leslie Vernon, Behind the Mask. It has mask in the title.
Yes.
But I do enjoy that mask. I've seen Nathan Basil, and they had the mask there, and I was actually able to see it up close, and it's way more detailed than it is in the movie. I mean, it's a really well done mask. You can buy them on Trick or Treat Studios, actually. So
was the actual one like latex, or was it like?
No, it's hard, like plastic mold type. But really cool mask. It has like a green tint to it. So that's my number 7. Number 6 for
my
you?
number 6. Now we're gonna start getting into like iconic looks.
Probably
Ghostface.
Okay.
Always liked it. I always liked that painting, the Screamer that it was kind of based on. But once again, it's that whole the look of it. I mean, it's something you can remember. It's something like even in Scream, it's something that anybody could buy anywhere at any Halloween store.
Yep. And it was a popular mask before the movie even came out.
Very popular mask. And I worked at the Halloween shop up at the mall the Halloween that Scream came out. We couldn't keep...
I bought it off you.
I know you did. We couldn't keep that costume in stock. And like I said, just very iconic look to the mask. Very simple mask, too.
Yeah. I mean, the design of it is very simple, but it's very ominous, and it's very noticeable till today.
Yeah.
My number 6 is Smiley from the movie Smiley. You know the movie to see it. It's very creepy looking. It's molded after just like a smiley face, but it's cut into the face of the mask, and it's like somebody took a real human face and sliced it to look like a smiley face. I recommend definitely looking that up. Really creepy movie, but I mean, I can show you a picture of it real quick. But
I know what you're talking about. It kind of looks like a human-faced emoticon or an emoji.
Yeah, pretty much. But
that was
human
the one
flesh tone.
Yes, very flesh tone.
Yeah. So.
Yep, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yep. So
that was the one towards the end. Not towards the end, but the scene with him over the bed when he started throwing up blood or puking blood, or it was coming out of the mouth. I do believe.
Something
to that effect.
Yeah.
My number 5, and this goes straight out. I really picked Leslie Vernon. I picked that because,
appreciate it.
Once again, I just watched that movie, thanks to Jim.
I got another follower for Leslie. Woo!
I just like that. Once again, I like the simplicity of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it did what it was supposed to do. Hit his face, I'm sure I'm going to get way more into this, so I'm not going to even remotely go there. But like I said, I like the sculpting. I like the fact that the eyes are really big. You could just see his eyes with the black around the black makeup around his eyes and everything. The mask had a permanent frown. and it just kind of looked, very sad or, depressed, whatever you want to call it. But I just liked it, and the gray. I don't know. Well, in the movie it looked gray, but
It's more of a green tint.
You really don't see. It's always white or this or the color was a nice choice.
Yes, absolutely. My number 5 is Chrome Skull from Laid to Rest. Another kind of underground movie. Loved it from day one. There's a sequel out there you can see online. It's really a simple skeleton mask, but it's just the way they made it look on the person. It's just straight up shiny, chrome, badass metal type mask.
Cyber Jason-ish.
Basically.
Okay.
So, but I love that mask, especially because they do a lot of close-ups of it. You can't see the eyes of the person at all. It's just a straight up silver chrome, shiny mask. So, for visually, I love that mask for a movie.
Nice.
Number 4?
The old Friday the 13th hockey mask from Jason.
All right.
And once again, I talked about simplicity and imagery and everything. You can't get more simple than a hockey mask.
Nope.
And it stays the same from Elm Street. I'm sorry. Friday the 13th, 3.
It stays the same and changes every time.
It changes. You know what I'm talking about.
It's still a hockey mask,
yes,
but it does change every movie.
There are some changes, different colored, paint jobs on it.
Yes.
But I just love it. It does, once again, it does what it's supposed to do. It hides the face.
Yeah.
It
hides the face, but shows a lot of the head.
Exactly. And, that's what happens when you get tired of wearing a bag on your head, so you pick up some young punk's hockey mask.
Yes. Oh, I feel sorry for him. Poor Leslie.
Yeah.
Number 4 for me would be Leatherface. From Texas Chainsaw Massacre, obviously. This is another mask that has been changed pretty much every single time.
Every fucking
movie. Everybody knows when you see that, you know who Leatherface is, I think.
Absolutely.
So, iconic-wise, that's why I put him at number 4. Number 3 for you.
This is going to be probably a complete surprise for you. The original My Bloody Valentine. The Miner's Mask.
Yep.
I know it's, once again, to me, simplicity, but that mask, the first time I saw it, spoke to me. I don't know why, maybe because of how long it was, elongated, but it also kind of reminded me of the plague masks that you've heard of years and years ago when they would fill the nostril or the nose up with with the stuff in there. So you had to get, doctors would go in, they put the plague mask on so they wouldn't be smelling rotting flesh or whatever. But the original one, yes, I absolutely love it. And the whole industrial look of it too. I mean, with the hard hat and the light and
that was just a man killing people, which is, it wasn't supernatural about it. It was just, but it was, you had no idea who was in it.
Absolutely.
Although I did watch the original recently I wanted to record an episode, but haven't been able to do that yet. But I did notice that you can actually see. But we'll see what happens. What was I at? Number 3? Mm-hmm. Number 3 for me is Ghostface. My 3, 2, 1 are all iconic, but Ghostface for me, everybody knows who it is. When you see it, but even if you're not a horror fan, you know that movie, that mask.
Exactly. So, and once again, it's the whole imagery.
And even though they try to recreate it in the TV show, they slowly remembered, oh yeah, we can't do that. This is the mask.
Yeah.
So
exactly. My number 2?
Yeah.
Another icon. Mikey Myers. Okay, your number 2 matches mine then.
Yes,
okay.
So this is going to be a short one. We both have Michael Myers as number 2, which is a surprise probably. But.
Once again, brief history. They wanted to use an Emmett Kelly mask. They found a Shatner mask for cheap. They teased out the hair, took the eyebrows off, and painted it white. Mm-hmm. So simple, so iconic. I know I've been saying that since number 10, but it just, that whole painting it white just made it like emotionless. And making the eyes black so you can't see Michael's eyes. It was just amazing.
And the main reason for the white of it is so the viewer had a blank canvas to put whoever they wanted on that face. It was only called the shape He was not Michael Myers, the man killing people in that movie. The credits, it's a shape.
Yep.
The reason was because John Carpenter wanted people to... There's a reason there's no gore in that movie. There's a lot of suspense. Build up. He wanted people to create their own horror for themselves. What's that?
And a good script.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. But that was the main reason for the whiteness and the blank expression type, and then it turned over into being more angry looking, I guess, whenever it became Michael Myers killing people. But in the original, that mask itself had so many more meanings to it,
Oh, yeah.
and that's why it's on my body for life. Number 1 for you.
You had mentioned him before, Leatherface.
Okay.
And
when you get to these iconic ones,
Yeah.
it's going to be a toss-up.
well, yeah, you know what? And like I said, if you can, I actually scratched it out. I went back and forth between my 1 and 2. But Leatherface, to me, not so much, well, iconic as well. You're being chased by somebody with a chainsaw, which is scary enough. But you can see that he's got somebody's facial skin and hair wearing it as a mask coming at you. That definitely says nut.
And a lot of the times in the movies, they show he's wearing a face of one of the victims that they knew.
Yes.
So that made it a lot more scary.
Like I said, when I first saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one, there were 3 different faces. The woman for cooking and the killing mask or whatever. The one that I really liked the most was the one that Savini did in Texas Chainsaw 2 with the different faces sewn crudely together where a nose was down here and the lips, somebody's mouth was... Once again, it's just iconic for me.
All right. My number 1 would be Jason Voorhees, Hockey Mask Friday the 13th. And the reason why Jason was above Michael for me is because I can't tell you how many times people have seen my tattoo and said, oh, that's Jason. No, that's Michael. But I consider that because Jason is more recognizable.
Wrong white mask.
So that's why I put him above Michael, strictly for personal reasons, because I know more people generally know who Jason's hockey mask is. And it's just, I've dealt with it firsthand for years by people just saying that Michael Myers is Jason. There's never, nobody ever looks at Jason's hockey mask and says Michael Myers. So that's why I put him number 1.
Okay.
But other than that, that was a hell of a list. I like that.
I like that list too.
So we're going to be coming up with more tops. This was too much to put 5, so I made it a 10. It could be a 5 or a 10 list. We might come up with another one next week.
Give us some ideas if you can.
Yes, please. In your comments, type in some top 5 or top 10 ideas, and we will come up with our list, and then you can give your list in the comments as well, or critique ours. If you don't know what something we talk about is, go back and look for it yourself, because chances are what we're talking about is pretty damn good. So, yeah, I'm good for this. Anything you want to talk about before we head out?
No, sir. I believe that this Elm Street 4 well has been tapped dry.
Very dry.
Yeah.
So
even when we
even
started,
drier than Sheila in the classroom.
Bump.
Ding ding. So thanks again for listening, watching, and we will be back with Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, Dream Child.
Yes, sir.
And for Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 and Slash Cast, I was Jim.
And I'm Chevy.
Until next time.
Goodbye.